Hello, this is Andrew Rigie of the New York City Hospitality Alliance on the Hospitality and Politics podcast, which we have now taken from audio to video, where we're having quick conversations with interesting people about important topics. So today I am here with Scott Hempstead. He is the Senior Director of On-Premise at Boston Beer, where he leads strategy across all national and independent on-premise channels. He's also on the advisory boards of the Nightclub and Bar magazine and CORE, which is Children of Restaurant Employees. Scott, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
So my first question is, I've been speaking with all different people that are involved in the hospitality in different ways, and they're having different conversations with restaurateurs and bar owners, often related to the impact of the pandemic, but then also how it impacts their specific sector. So what kind of conversations have you been having with restaurateurs, bar owners, bartenders since COVID-19 hit?
Well, Andrew, you know, it's kind of a phase of different conversations that happened. At first, it was a sort of like, oh shit moment for a lot of people, a lot of uncertainty. So a lot of the conversations were speculation conversations. What's this going to look like? When are we going to get out of this? And then, you know, slowly the conversations have thankfully pivoted to flexing and adapting to the new world. What are some of the tactics that we can use as a restaurant concept in order to start to gain back our business? I think most of the operators that I've been talking to and restaurant companies have very much been creative in trying to just keep the lights on and keep the kitchens open and keep their staff busy. And I think I'd say the world is wide open in terms of what people are trying in different tactics. They're trying to actually build those businesses.
Nice. So when we talk about trends, I mean, I've been speaking with architects and so many different people. And, you know, the question is COVID-19 going to have, you know, like this immediate impact directly related to dealing with the situation? Or is it somehow going to have a longer lasting influence in the operations of restaurants and bars, the consumer purchasing behavior of them? Do you think COVID's going to have an impact, both short term that you've seen already and or long term influence on the way people consume beer, the way restaurants and bars serve it?
Well, yeah, I would say short term, we're certainly going to see like little tactical things like a movement to plastic cups, digital menus. And digital menus may be something that is here to stay for a longer term. Certainly disposable menus, you know, lines on the ground to help inform you when you're 6 feet away, one way in, one way out doors for restaurants to minimize interaction. I think those things are probably more in the short term, and that's just my hypothesis. I think longer term, what we've seen during COVID is what you could call like the great accelerator. It's, you know, our generation is being pulled, our society is being pulled in, you know, 3 to 5 years into the future overnight. And, you know, I kind of talk about like things like credit cards, like I believe that we'll laugh about the fact that we used to walk around with this plastic card in our wallet, and you'd like hand it to a server who would then like go swipe it and then hand it back to you, then give you a pen that 700 other people have touched in the last 48 hours and sign a little thing. That's going to go, I believe that'll go away. Digital payments. The other thing that I think will be here to stay, that the COVID has really impacted on the business is e-commerce. I think the restaurant industry as a whole got caught on this, and we're not as prepared as their off-premise counterparts when it comes to an e-commerce strategy. I'll give you an example. Like one of my favorite restaurants, here, I live out on Cape Cod actually, and one of my favorite restaurants is still, you know, that you have to call in your order and like give them your credit card over the phone. And and I know the owner, I said, you gotta get out of that. You gotta move forward. So I think there's some things that are short term that'll be here, as I mentioned, the sort of short term tactical things. But I think long term, you're going to see some behaviors change.
So obviously Boston beer is so well known for Sam Adams, but I know now you have different brands. Are you seeing consumer purchasing behavior change? Are they drinking different types of drinks? Is it going towards darker or lighter? What's happening as far as consumer purchasing behavior, if anything, during the pandemic that wasn't before this crisis?
It's a great question, Andrew. And the answer is yes, there's been a change. There's definitely been a big move towards, lead brands. I'll put a disclaimer out there. I'm not here to just sales pitch for us. Obviously, I got Truly, and I put that here. But we sell Samuel Adams, Dogfish Head Brewery, Angry Orchard Cider, which is New York based, right up the road from you. You should get up there in Walden. It's a beautiful spot. You would love it. Coney Island Brewery, Twisted Tea. We have a broad portfolio of products, and the products that are doing the best for us are really our lead brands, and we've seen that across the entire segment. If you look at if you refer to IRI and Nielsen scan data throughout the last 2 months, you'll find that really almost all of the growth has been driven from legacy brands, brands such as New Belgium, Sierra Nevada, Modelo, Stella Artois, Bud Light, Miller Lite. So there's definitely been a movement there, and one of the things that, and obviously seltzers. I mean, you got to be living under a rock to realize, not to realize that White Claw and Truly have just, it's really the new light beer. The hard seltzer category is the new light beer. That's how it behaves, and that's how people are drinking it. But I think a consultant we work with, Bump Williams, he's a really smart guy. He's been around a long time. A lot of people know him. He actually, I think, phrased it really well, and he called it oh God, what was the term he used for it? Category roaming was the word he used. And and I know what it is because I've done it. I'm a beer geek. I'm a certified Cicerone. I'm really into beer, and I always have been. I'll buy things that I don't sell just so I can try and experience new items. When I stand in front of a cooler now, I'm in and out. And guess what? That's happening across all CPG in the grocery channel. The visits to stores are much faster. People are making their decision quicker. They're identifying the product that they know and they're comfortable with and has low risk, and they're getting the hell out. And we're probably going to see a little bit of that in the on-premise too. If you think about the time that you spend talking to your server or your bartender, it's going to be like more get to the point. What do you want? And that's, I don't know if that's long-term, but certainly in the short term, that's a trend that we've seen coming out of COVID.
So on that point, in New York City, restaurants are going to start opening outdoors and then indoors. And, it's going to be really tough, long journey back through our recovery. What are some tips or recommendations that restaurant bar owners, servers, bartenders should know to hopefully get customers to maybe focus on these different brands, come back to some of the classics, but really, bring people that experience at a restaurant or a bar that they've really been craving for the past 3 months when we've been in lockdown?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is across the board is to make sure people feel safe. I'd say, doing your due diligence on, your PPE, making sure that there's plenty of, space between tables, and really just setting the standard. I think consumers and guests in restaurants are going to take a cue for where they go based on how staff behave. And if they see a restaurant where they're loose and they can see in the back room, or the chef is, the face mask is hanging off the side, it just might be a cue to that person that maybe they're going to try someplace else. And I would say that's really, really important coming out of this. People are pent up. They're ready to get out. They're done with all the Zoom meetings. They're ready to move on from a lot of this stuff. And especially when it comes to with friends, they want to go out with their friends again, and be in the restaurants, which is the original social media, is to go to a bar and share stories and share pictures and things like that. So I think you got to make sure people feel safe and have confidence in your own capabilities to run your restaurant. to the specs that your local authorities have dictated.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I mean, one of the things that I've been saying is for the past 3 months, we've been told to social distance, but restaurants or bars are where we come to socialize. And it's going to be a real interesting transition back to socializing while we still have these social distancing requirements in place. And I think people, I've just heard for so many, they can't wait to sit down, have a cold beer, have a cocktail, be able to socialize. And it's really important that we address all the safety issues and make people comfortable. And I know so many different organizations and companies have really been stepping up in so many different ways. It really shows how invested I think so many in the business community are to supporting the hospitality industry's recovery, but then also just the workers, and help really serve our communities as a whole. So what about you folks over at Boston Beer? Have you been doing any programs or doing anything to help support the restaurant industry, workers, communities?
Absolutely, Andrew. You know, we got big heart over here at Boston Beer for the restaurant and the bar industry. We built our business on it. You know, I've been here for 21 years, and you know, I've worked very closely for Jim Cook, and you know, for a long time, and Dave Berwick, our CEO. I will tell you this: when this whole thing happened, it was like it was the number one question that they had for me is what do you need? What does your world need? It wasn't how much do we have to write a check so we can check a box that we made a donation and we were involved in, you know, something. It was like a genuine, what can we do to help these people? We can't save the entire thing, but we can at least try to make an impact. And I'm so proud of the way, you know, our leadership and our team had really responded to us. So the first thing we did was we set up a fund with the Greg Hill Foundation called the Restaurant Strong Fund. And the Restaurant Strong Fund is now approaching $4 million in donations. We had, you know, got it started with a couple $1 million, and it's really just taken off. And basically what we've did is accepted grant requests from furloughed restaurant and hospitality workers for $1,000 grants. Again, not going to change the world, but certainly can help and pick up a month or two of rent as they got through this thing. So that's something that we're really passionate about. We've actually expanded that program across the country. And you can find more about that at restaurantstrong.org. And then the other piece is the Restaurant Employee Relief Fund, which was something that the National Restaurant Association Educational Foundation and Guy Fieri had teamed up on. And this is really a phenomenal effort from them that we were founding partner with them. And it's a similar thing where they accepted grants for $500 grants. And this was a great one where like a lot of us teamed up, you know, Constellation was involved, you know, Boston Beer, you know, even some of the big companies, you know, recruiting companies and talent acquisition companies like the Elliott Group and Alice Elliott and the team there. Just a really cross-functional group of people that got behind that Restaurant Employee Relief Fund. So we're really proud to be a part of that. And you know what? And we're gonna keep finding ways to give back. I mean, the restaurant business isn't gonna just like turn on the light tomorrow and be 100% back to where they are. So we're gonna continue to invest in this class of trade and to support our customers.
Wonderful. Well, listen, thank you so much for all that support of the industry. It means the world to so many people. So on one final departing note, if I'm a restaurant or bar owner operator and I'm listening to this, any final last words of wisdom as it pertains to your beer and other drink specials when you're starting to open up the businesses again?
Yeah, you know what? I wish you all the best, and we love you. Boston Beer Company, it's our heart. We believe the heart and soul of this business is in restaurants and bars. Reach out to us. You know, send me a message at scott.hempstead@bostonbeer.com, and I'll put you in touch with our sales reps. We have resources to help get you off the ground. And we have creative ideas and things that we can bring to the table to help you create some excitement for your guests and also help you in a real way to get back open and support your business. So we'd be honored to have that opportunity to do that.
Beautiful. Well, Scott Hempstead, the Senior Director of On-Premise at Boston Beer, we thank you and the team for all your support of our industry. Appreciate you having the conversation. I know we'll continue to have some conversations, and thanks for all you do. And cheers.
Andrew, cheers to you, brother. Have a great one. Thank you.
I'd like to give a big thank you to our guests for coming in. I want to thank everyone for listening to Hospitality and Politics, powered by the New York City Hospitality Alliance. Please rate, review, share this show with anyone you think that would like it. You can find us on Instagram and on Twitter at the NYC Alliance. We're on Facebook and LinkedIn, New York City Hospitality Alliance. And I'm your host, Andrew Rigie, and I'm at Twitter at Andrew Rigie and Instagram, Political Foodie NYC. Join our movement, support the New York City Hospitality Alliance, find us, the nycalliance.org. We'll talk to you next time.